Hello, DiVino headquarters. Yes. Yes, they do make good kosher wine. You guessed it. Stick around. Today's video is all about kosher wine. Hello again, I'm Annie Shapero, sommelier and the founder of DiVino, a wine education and consulting company here in New York City. Before we get started, I would like to remind you to please subscribe. The button is right down there if you like what you see. That way, every time I publish a new DiVino Wine School video or something like this, fun and educational content, all about the fascinating world of wine, you can follow along. First, I would like to wish everyone who is celebrating Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur happy holidays. Shana Tova to you and your family. Here's to a sweet new year. As you may know, my name is Annie Shapero. I spell it a little bit differently, but that still means I get a lot of questions about kosher wine. If you don't know why, Google famous Jewish last names. People also ask me if I'm related to O.J. Simpson's lawyer. Who knows? We're all cousins somewhere down the line. Now, I don't keep kosher myself. In fact, if I had $1 for every time I said, hey, let's order a plate of salami, I sure wouldn't be here trying to make $1 on YouTube. Wink, wink. Subscribe, please. No, but seriously, I'm not a vegetarian either, but being in the food and wine business, I have a whole stash of plant-based recipes and wines to pair with them. So, getting back to kosher wine. Since I moved back to New York, I've been reading and tasting and writing all about kosher wine. And this time of year, without fail, Passover too, people always call me, email me, text me, or just ask me, hey Annie, can you recommend a good kosher wine? People didn't think much of kosher wine for a long time. There were basically two main brands who had cornered the market with sugary sweet red wines made from Concord grapes. In the same way that rosé had to fight its reputation as cheap pink wine, kosher wine had to prove to the world that kosher wine does not equal sweet wine. It wasn't until recently that wineries around the world, mainly in France, the United States, Israel, Italy, Spain, and South Africa, realized there was a real market for high-quality kosher wine, and they started making more of it. Now, thankfully, you can get a great bottle of Beaujolais Nouveau for $15 and a classic Laurent Perrier kosher champagne for $70. Before we taste the two wines I brought today, let's answer the question, what makes kosher wine kosher? Kosher wine means that only religious Jews who observe the kashrut dietary rules and observe the Sabbath can handle the wine from start to finish. It also means that the wines haven't come into contact with any animal-derived products during the fining process, things like gelatin or egg whites or casein. Fun fact, most kosher wines are also vegan. So that seems simple enough if you live in an Orthodox commune or ancient Israel. But in this day and age, what if your winemaker, your cellar master, your wine grower isn't practicing? What do you do if you have a winery, you've got the grapes, you've got the skills and the passion, but not enough religious juice? Wine is a sacred part of Jewish ritual, and they were not about to let the diaspora get in the way of kosher wine. Mevushal literally translates to boiled or cooked. Back in the day, boiling wine made it unfit for idol worshiping, so the kosher committee decided it was okay for wine to be touched by someone like me as long as it was boiled at some point along the way. Sounds delicious, right? Sure, if you add some mulling spices. Nowadays, if you see Mevushal on the label, it means the grapes were flash pasteurized before making the wine. They were most likely flash refrigerated immediately after to preserve aromas and acidity. Plenty of Mevushal kosher wines are dry, aromatic, and delicious, including the two I brought today. You can read more about kosher wines and different kinds of kosher wines, for example, kosher for Passover, on the DiVino blog. The link is right down there. But let's taste some wine already. First up, the white. Domaine de Panquelaine, Sancerre 2018. This dry white wine is a beautiful classic expression of Sancerre. 100% Sauvignon Blanc, stainless steel fermented, not a bit of oak in there at all. This wine is also Mevushal and kosher for Passover, so keep this guy in mind come next spring. Let's have a look. This wine is a brilliant, pale, straw yellow gold. The light is just glinting off all sides of it. This wine has the quintessential stony mineral note of Sauvignon Blancs from the Loire Valley, especially Sancerre. It's also got some tropical fruit in there. A little bit of mango, a little bit of ripe pineapple, some star fruit. This wine hits the palate like a cool, brisk breeze. It is steely and bone dry, and has this beautiful, long, mineral, mouth-watering finish. As far as quality goes, you can't beat this. Sancerre is a crowd pleaser for a reason. You can read more about Sancerre on the DiVino Blog if you're curious, but for the dry white wine drinkers at your breakfast this year, they will love this wine. So if you go to your local wine shop, assuming they have a sizable kosher selection, you should be able to find this wine or something like it for about $30. Sancerre and salmon is a classic combination. No matter how you prepare it, broiled, roasted, or smoked on a bagel, the crisp acidity and fruity citrus notes of the Sancerre are a perfect balance for the fatty, salty salmon. Let me know in the comment section if you try out this pairing at home. And now for the red. Ramon Cardova Rioja 2017. I first wrote about Ramon Cardova Rioja for an article in J-Day magazine, but it's not just one of my favorites. I discovered that year after year, this is a best-selling kosher wine in some of my most trusted wine shops here in New York City. As I said, this wine is also Mevushal, just for the record, and it is a beautiful expression of a lightweight, young Rioja. It's relatively young at 2017, which means it's quite fruit-forward and snappy. Let's have a look. It is a deep ruby red, very compact, and you've even got some arches slowly descending the sides of the glass. Very promising. I smell dark black cherries, wild berries, a little bit of sweet spice like cinnamon or nutmeg. Let's taste. Now, this wine is pretty hot. It's 14% alcohol by volume, but strictly speaking, on the palate, it is a pretty light-bodied wine. It opens really bright and fresh. And even though the finish is not super long, what does remain is a lot of fruit and a lot of spice. This is a classic young Rioja. It really tingles on the palate. That being said, the tannins present, even the few that are from the oak aging, are a great match for saucy stewed meats, like brisket, for example. Then, the fruity and sweet spice flavors are a lovely balance to saltier cured meats, like corned beef or pastrami. Let me know in the comments if you try any of these pairings and how it works out. Now, this is not a big red wine, so keep that in mind if you've got cab lovers coming to dinner. There are plenty of kosher wines that fit that profile. Check out the DiVino Blog for some of my suggestions. There are so many options for good kosher wine out there now at a variety of price points coming from all around the world. So I would be curious to hear what your favorite kosher wines are this year and what you paired them with. Let me know. Once again, Shana Tova, L'chaim, happy high holiday season. If you like these videos, don't forget to subscribe. He's watching, and I hope you are too. Cheers.